Guillermo Mashia, man, I'm really, really happy and pleased to be talking with James Lee Clark, a.k.a. Fago, out of Sacramento, one of the founders of the Sacramento Community Dinner Project. So welcome to the show, Fago.
Hello, everybody.
Awesome. Maybe you can introduce yourself real quick and give us a little ditty on how you started up, where this whole idea for the community project came from, and how you guys started that off down there a year ago.
Well, being a homeless individual myself, I've seen a lot of the different anti-homeless laws in Sacramento and across the country. I'd noticed in Florida there was this 93-year-old man who kept getting arrested for feeding people. And when I saw that and I realized, wait, we have similar laws like that here in Sacramento, I kind of, I looked at Food Not Bombs and what they did, and I kind of used that as a stepping stone kind of idea. Like, hey, they're brilliant for that. Let's do something like that, but bigger. And so we started organizing and made it to where we go into the city council meetings right after we do the dinners and keep it organic. And it's been a really big success. It took a while to organize the first dinner, though.
Yeah, I know. I've been really following you guys from afar mostly, but I did get some good luck. The one time I was there, I got some really good footage. I got some choice
I remember you got the footage with David all hyped up and happy.
Hi, I'm David Andre from the Community Dinner Project. I'm one of the homeless people in Sacramento. I wasn't always homeless. I used to own a house just down the street. I was born right over there. I'm not a transient. I'm from here. Due to the fact that I got sick, I lost my job. Boom, I'm out on the street. Come down to the Community Dinner Project Tuesday at 4:30. Every Tuesday, the City Hall's in session. Come join me and a whole bunch of really energetic activists, have an organic meal, and talk about what we can do to make this city more compassionate. A compassionate, world-class city is my goal. Woo!
Could you describe the overall project in like 30 seconds, kind of like a thumbnail?
Basically, we're rebuilding our community from the ground up, starting with the individuals that have been cast aside by our society the most, and attempting to hold our city council more accountable while fighting for the rights of the individuals that are living outside. So we end up in the city council meetings pretty regularly, and we push for a plethora of different issues, with our main focus being homelessness.
Why is it so vital in the city of Sacramento right at this moment, Fago? Give us a little bit.
Well, for one, we're the capital of the 8th largest economy in the world, and yet we still have an issue where the homeless population is still being treated as criminals, while we're building arenas and doing all these other things instead of prioritizing the citizens that live here.
It's annoying to see. I see a lot of communities doing exactly the same thing right around exactly the same time, doing these criminalization laws going, it's not about criminalizing the homeless. It's about behavior. Yeah, create behavior that says it's illegal to sleep, and now that's a new behavior that they're going to write you up for. It's crazy. Redding's going to be doing something too. So what would you say to that?
I would say to Redding, definitely make sure to clog up those council meetings and hold your council accountable. Start looking into finding solutions in ways that we can deal with some of the problematic issues, and at the same time adhere to people's rights. It's important that we keep public safety, but at the same time, in order to do that, we have to make sure everybody is safe, and that includes the people that don't have anywhere else to go.
Yeah, they're the most vulnerable for sure, living outside. Everyone talks about health and safety and, public health and safety hazards, Fago, but I never see no one doing nearly enough for people that are living out under bridges and in parks. It's crazy.
It's kind of sad to see how some of the people are treated out here. Like, one thing that people don't realize is these camping ordinances, they actually cause more problems than they help, because now you have a person that can't get any rest. And if you look at the psychological effects of people when they don't get a good night's sleep, a lot of times it makes them more aggressive, more angry, and that's not the way we need to go about it if we're trying to adhere to public safety and stop problematic behaviors.
What's really disturbing to me is it almost feeds into the thing. It's kind of like, look at that person. He's yelling and screaming. Well, you haven't let him sleep in 2 days, and you've told people they can't feed him. Yeah, he's probably doing a little less than he'd like to be.
We've got a major problem where people are just being pushed around throughout the city on a regular basis, from one end of town to the next end of town, and it's just a vicious cycle. It actually, and through the criminalization, they found that it actually just keeps people from being able to rise up and improve their situation.
Maybe you could describe a typical dinner in 30 seconds.
A typical dinner, our volunteers get there around between 4 and 4:30 to set up tables and get food on the tables. We've got several different volunteers that help cook. And then we start serving the dinners. We use as much reusable dishes as possible to try to reduce waste and cost. And we serve an organic meal to anywhere from 70 to about 130 people a week, depending on which part of the month it's in. And right afterwards, we go directly into the city council meeting, and it usually runs pretty smooth. One thing I do while everybody's serving, I go up and down the line, and I let people know why we're there. I let them know that we're doing this illegally, that we're risking getting either a citation or arrested. And I let them know what the topics are going to be, what we're going to be talking about inside the council meeting, and I encourage people to go in, which is actually where the biggest success, I think, has been coming in. Because almost every week we get somebody that came for a meal that goes into the council meeting. They stay there all night till the end when public comment comes up, giving up easy access to a safe place to sleep, and they speak out to this council. And most of the time it's really good, heartfelt, and like even the people in the business suits that were looking down on them when they first came in are applauding sometimes.
So on that point, how many members are involved in talking to the city council? Kind of your typical average, and then some of the atypical times, maybe when you talked about bathrooms and stuff like that.
It kind of fluctuates from time to time. We've got a core group of community dinner project members that speaks of about 3 or 4 every week, and then we've got others that speak on occasion.
Have you guys been harassed by the police? What kind of harassment have you been under for actually doing what you do outside, serving meals, giving out clothing?
The very first night, they tried moving our tables on us, which did not bode well. Everybody just got really upset, and and they stayed nonviolent and stayed peaceful. People weren't happy with it, so it became a really intense evening.
What inroads have you guys made with the council on some of these issues you've brought forward in public comments and otherwise?
Well, right now we've got Councilmember Harris has requested a budget report on how much the city's actually spending on homelessness, which is a really epic thing. We haven't got that report back yet, but I've talked to him about it. He said it's in the millions just to be pushing people around and not helping them.
Oh, yeah, so you're not kind of looking at what they should be helping you with, housing and, all these other things. It's like, how much does it cost to criminalize them? Yeah, that's a good number. I'm sure Paul Bowden from RAP will be happy to see some numbers around that.
Oh, yeah. And another thing that we've been successful in is we just recently got Councilmember Harris to start the process for a proposal that would be a pilot program to open up a couple bathrooms downtown and hire on an attendant to be with those bathrooms to make sure they're not being misused.
Yeah, David covered that.
My main one is bathrooms. That's my focus, is the public bathrooms and water fountains. And Councilmember Harris is working on a proposal about opening the bathrooms with paid attendants. This is something great. The majority of public bathrooms in Sacramento, where people are, including Cesar Chavez Park, right in Cesar Chavez Plaza, where there's all these thousands of people, the bathroom doors have been locked. And originally we went in there and we got all kinds of reasons, why the bathrooms are locked, this and that. The problem is that people have to go. It's a human need. So working on that problem has been very, very edifying for me. And now that Mr. Harris has this, he's working on this proposal. I'm looking forward to it. Also, the easing up of the police on the homeless population has been a big thing. Some of us have gone into other meetings with the city councilman now as part of Community Dinner Project, more intense things, and talked about when they need to lay off, what's working and what's not.
Yeah, the basic human rights and dignity, it's just absurd not to expect people to go to the bathroom.
Exactly.
Why are you so passionate about this?
I'm a firm believer that if we're ever going to have a good society where everybody is safe and everybody can get along, we have to start by helping the people that have been cast out. Nobody should have their rights being violated. And when we have a community that is catering to the rich while just criminalizing the poor, that's not a just society.
Since you're kind of the lead of that group and you put together the bylaws and stuff, maybe we can have a conversation about what it would take to do something like that in Chico and different other communities. What bylaws and some inputs you would give on that.
It's a lot of work to get one of these started. The first step is always the research. You got to go in, look at all the local ordinances, look at what rulings have come down in other communities concerning ordinances similar. From there, you kind of got to start making a Facebook page for the community page, or like page is the other term for it, and then a group page and an event page, and all this all this stuff is really important to add into it because it's what makes it to where you can do what you've got to do. Then there's the aspect of keeping it organic. We're very big on it because we believe that organic food shouldn't be something that only people with homes have access to. And sometimes it's hard for people with homes to be able to access it. And we want to ensure that we increase that access to everyone.
Now you mentioned some really cool points in here. The ability to have people trained in nonviolent communication and de-escalation. Maybe you could explain what kind of training you guys have gone through and what kind of resources are available, for folks to get that kind of training.
Nonviolent de-escalation training is basically learning how to be able to enter a situation where people are highly agitated and be able to try to calm them down. One tactic where I got a little bit of training from was through the nonviolent communications. Occupy Sacramento used to have a committee on that, and they were able to teach me better ways to communicate that help to de-escalate situations instead of escalating them.
I mean, do you have like a certification process, or what's your process for making sure folks that show up can help de-escalate situations that may or may not arise?
We don't have a specific set process yet, but most of the people that have been here with Community Dinner Project have already had some form of training through the movement. Like most of them are pretty active people, so they've been able to learn how to deal with stressful situations in a peaceful fashion, just from experience at protests and different actions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've always been a big proponent when I looked at maybe doing something like this is to kind of not so much leverage what other people are doing, but the more these get started up, the more solidarity there is,
Exactly. And that's one of the great aspects of it too. Is it's kind of been changing the conversation locally. Because a lot of people end up watching the council meetings, they're hearing what people have to say. Sometimes the council's actually even gotten a few of the people that came in to speak set up so that they could get off the street.
Oh, really? So you've actually had people come in and speak at the council, and we've found them places to sleep other than in the park?
Yeah, just
cool.
This last week, actually, somebody I'd known for a few years on the streets ended up homeless again with her child, and she'd come to speak at the city council meeting about how she got harassed for peacefully panhandling, which is actually constitutionally protected.
Right.
Councilmember Ashley pulled her to the side and talked to her for a little bit, and I just talked to her. She's now on a wait list to get her own apartment.
Well, that's a good story, Fago. I really like that. Is there anything that we haven't covered or something we have covered that you might want to reemphasize before we sign off from Chico to Sacramento here?
One of our secondary big issues is always going to be police brutality because it ties in with so much of everything. And that's one of the important aspects I want people to realize is when you're doing these, it's not just about addressing homelessness. It's about all the different issues within our community because, the homeless individuals in our communities are still a part of the community. And all these issues, they're all connected one way or another. And if we're ever going to try to have a more just and united society, we have to realize we have to address as many of the issues that are bringing people down as possible.
Mm-hmm. So you guys are using NLG to do your observers?
Yes, we use National Lawyers Guild to do legal observing, and we've also made sure to be in contact with lawyers. It's very important to have some form of legal representation in case the cops decide or the city decides to make an arrest, because not every city is going to be like Sacramento and worried about their PR over it,
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. Well, I really appreciated this chance to talk with you, Fago.
Hey, no problem. Thank you, Bill.